Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Karen Newman. This is the Saturday Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It is Saturday, the 1st of May, 2021. We have with us our very, very special, wonderful, amazing, easily embarrassed Jim Charles with us today. And so we're very excited to have him channeling. We'll be taking questions from the YouTube chat and from in the room. Today we have with us a beautiful array of human beings. I will tell you who they are in just 1 second, but I could click them open. Okay, today we have Angie, Jim, of course, Barbara, Christine, Daniel, David, Yana, Sheer, Stephanie, and Susan. More people will be coming in a moment, I'm sure. And my name is Karen, so we have that. And let's just say hi to Jim for just a moment. Hi, Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Great. And how was your class last week? How did that go?
Angie taught it. Angie taught the class, and from what I understand, it went very well.
Oh, Angie, you taught the class. I thought
Well,
it was.
I had opted out. I wasn't in the frame of mind to teach it, so
Understood.
Angie took it over.
Yeah. Okay, how did it go, Angie?
It went great. It went really well, smooth. Everyone loved it.
Awesome. So when's the next class, and what do you have coming up?
We're going to be looking at a crystals, stones class. We're going to be looking at White Magic 2 and also Galactic Energy Healing Teacher class. And that one, those are the ones that are going to be coming up for the rest of this year. The dates have not yet been set for those, but those are what we are interested, or what we are planning to have. If you're interested in any of those, send an email to classes@hucolo.org and I will get the information out to you.
And very soon on the new website, you'll be able to look and read about those and all that kind of stuff. So new website's coming in just a couple weeks, people. New website, yay. All right. Okay, so we'll start with some blessings, and we will, Susan is asking, Susan, we'll get you at the end for that, and then we have the 3 people, and we'll get you on the end. So we'll start with Barbara, we'll go to David, and then we'll go to Angie. Yeah? Okay.
Tatata kisitiata koshomanata katipiti hatatata kiata koropata kashinia ki hatata karapa kapakiata kisititiata koropataki kisitiata patakachiniata karata karitipiriata.
During these times, we let the light shine as brightly as we can. Many people stand in the way of the light to block it, but we must push them aside so that the light shines through and bring into our area the brightest and best of love and kindness and compassion that we can deal with.
David.
Te rati muati ashana kia kura. Utura atea tangera katiatu malahani anyetu reki. Let the heart show the way. Kia ta ruma ateasen siki kiashan. Utu skret niati tiata. Murakati tiashara muro oniatara kukiashan. Utu yara niati ki wahana. Peace, love, blessings. I am that I am. So be it, and so it is.
There is an energy that it forces itself into our world and forces itself into yours, so that you may not be able to see the truth, that you may be fumbling and stumbling. Remember that God is with you always, and you need not gather anything but Him in order to succeed. He is your light, your guide, your health, your strength, and all things to you. Call on Him, and you need nothing else.
Thank you. Angie.
So uno ati atukua. Niana no ku I achashana ne aka. Warahi amda ko ari etishi. Miasa sa ko u. Harato ko niya taka. Asano o ashashani yoka a nonoko arasaniki amnatika a.
Let your heart expand in love and compassion. Think not of yourself as much as you used to. Of course, you need to take care of yourself, but it is not all about you. It is about all the people around you and how you can help them and be a light and shine a great truth to them. Be with them always, and the truth will come to you and protect you as well. That was all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so I'll read the request, or did you want to do something first? Did you want to do a prayer for?
Yes, I wanted to do some prayers for India and for Israel. There's places around the earth that are really suffering right now. So I'd like to just do a prayer for them right now, and then we can move forward. Everybody be in a very spiritual frame of mind, call on God, and I will say a prayer for these places. Dear Heavenly Father, look down upon this planet. Look down upon this sphere and bless it. There is so much love needed here and so much healing needed here. We see what is happening in India. We ask that you would put your hand upon that country and lift them up, bring them into a better and more beautiful healing than they have seen in a while, because there is much that needs to be happen there. We know that there are many sick and many dying there, and they need you very badly. We love you and we know that you can do this. So we just pray and ask for your assistance. Also in Israel, where a gathering of beautiful people to say, I don't know how to say the word correctly. The Jewish people were gathering and had a terrible incident happen. Please reach down and bless the families of those that had loved ones that were lost. Please comfort and heal those that are still recovering from that situation. Please be with the entire country of Israel so that they may heal from this horrible situation. God, we know that you are here and are able to do all the things that you say you can do. There is a reason for everything, and perhaps these things are opening out people's eyes so they can count on you more, so they can reach out to you in a greater way, so that they can love you in another way that they have not been able to love you before. Bring healing and comfort to India and Israel. We just ask in your name. I don't know how to pray any stronger for these people, but I know that they need you, and I know that they understand that you are there. But open their eyes and let them see your work, see you in action, see your love within the others that are there helping, and see that you are the King of Kings and Lord of all lords in the universe, creator of all. Amen. Okay.
Okay, yay. So just remembering everyone that's been lost in this crazy time that we're having. Yeah.
And who were the requests?
Well, we have a list, so let me get to the top of it. Okay, there it's for Deldi for more in-depth information from, or Deldia, sorry, for more in-depth information about the hybridization programs that are going on, all the different ones. Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan are requested. Let's see, Gaia and Gandhi. A lot of G's today. Gia and Pax, nature spirits of the Colorado River watershed, or Terra as well, which is the same consciousness, different names. Sheer would like a Time Lord, if well, and and King Solomon is the last request we have. And let me just check in the YouTube and see if there's any requests real quick. Let me just zip over there. No, I do not see any requests over there. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I do not know who's coming today. And I want everybody to be aware that this is only like the third day that I've been channeling since the death of my friend. So
yeah, sorry.
It's been quite a while, and there's still a lot of things needed to be done. So please pray that God is with me today. I am still sort of shaky. So, but I know that God is here and that he will come through. So let's see who comes today. I'm not sure if Elijah's coming or not. Some say he is, some say he isn't. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
All right. See you on the other side.
Yes, very well. Much love to everyone, and I will talk to you later.
Okay.
Greetings. I am Elijah.
Welcome, Elijah.
I have come today to send sympathy and to send comfort to those that have lost loved ones in India, Israel, and all around the world. The COVID disease has taken many lives, and there are many that are suffering because of it. Remember that God is there to comfort and align with your spirit to help you to grieve properly, to help you to understand what is happening in the world today. It is hard to understand when things like this happen, but you cannot blame God for the diseases of the land. You cannot blame God for the things that are happening that are negative, but you can call on him for the positivity to comfort, for those things that will help in time of need. I know that many of you have had loved ones and those that have passed with these terrible diseases and with terrible tragedies. God can send comfort through those who believe, through those that understand him and feel his love and know his love. They can also be a part of the shining light that can comfort people. He can deal directly with the heart, as you know. He can deal directly with each and every individual if you will give him a chance. Many find it difficult to talk to God. He seems too big, too far away, and too impersonal. But you cannot look at him that way. Yes, he is a huge God, but he wants to be close. He wants to speak to you. He wants you to feel him. But many of you have a hard time believing that, and I can relate to that. There have been some times when I myself cannot get through to him, or feel like he is not speaking, or feel like I am far, far away from any kind of comfort. But it is only when I am feeling bad for myself, and not giving him a chance to comfort me. Sometimes we welcome our own sorrow because at least it's something. But God is more than just something. He is an amazing being. He wants to come and help you. And he has helped many of you as he has helped me. Let him be here in your times of sorrow. Let him be here in your times of need. Help those around you. Changing the subject just a bit. You can reach out and become what someone else needs. You can reach out and give your love to someone who needs it. You can reach out and give your compassion and help to someone that needs it. There are many out there that are all alone and have no one. They feel isolated. They feel like God has forsaken them. But that is not the truth. We must find a way to get to them. We must find a way to shine a light to them. We must find a way to love them and bring them into the fold, bring them into a greater understanding. And I know that some of them will refuse to become a part of a group. But still, that does not stop us from reaching out. That does not stop us from loving them or praying for them or loving them in our own special ways. Sending God to them. I know that this may seem a little drab and boring to some because they haven't lost anyone. They haven't seen a need to reach out. They haven't found anyone that's hurting or in grief or in need. But you will be surprised to know that even those that put on a great front may need love and compassion, and you may be one of those yourself that put on a strong front, a smiling face, and some kind of air that you are doing all right, but that you are really not. God, show us their faces, not to embarrass them, but to give them the help that they need. To show them that you are the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and love them all, and that there is love for them. You may be the one feeling that there's no one there to love you, that there's no one there to care about you, that you are left behind, that you are the one that's not being cared for. It's sometimes not always about others, but you need to find that love of God. You really don't reach out to anyone. You really don't ask for help. You really don't know what it would be like to be helped, but you know that you need something. You know that you need a little bit more care. You know that you're lonely. You know that there's something missing. Let God be that something that comes to you. Call on him. Many of you are feeling low, but you do not call on him to help you. Call on Yeshua, God, the angels. And you say, well, I have done that, and I feel nothing. I feel betrayed. I feel let down. We all go through that one time or another. But that doesn't mean to give up. That doesn't mean to stop praying. That doesn't mean to stop reaching out. Sometimes it takes some effort to get through. Why? I'm not sure why always. But God knows why. I cannot have all the answers to God because he eludes me in many ways as well. But I do know that he is the answer because he has the answers, and he has the love, and he has the compassion, and he has the truth. What is it that you need? Call out to God for it. And those of you that are sitting there that know that other people may be in need of love, compassion, and help, but yet you don't like them, so you don't reach out. Perhaps that's why you don't get any help, is because you refuse to help others when you know that they need it. You've refused to reach out to those that are less than. You must look at everyone as God's children, everyone, and help them all. The greatest to the least, they are all valuable in God's eyes. I send my love to you right now. And if you need to speak to me, I will speak to you. I would like to grab in and embrace your heart. Not just your person, but all of your heart, to show you how much love there can be. Of course, your whole person needs embraced as well. But the heart is where things come through. But the mind has to understand you must let it through. The mind must understand that the heart must be open to receive. The brain can sometimes get very conflicted. Well, they're not doing this, so I shouldn't help. They're just not being the right way, so I can't reach out. The mind is where everything comes apart sometimes. Many of you say, yes, I'm a loving and guided and good person, but you let your mind say and tell you other things. Your heart is not working when your mind is conflicting you. Your mind is telling you not to, that you shouldn't, that you don't like that person, that you don't want to be near them. So the mind is telling you that, and so the heart is not working on behalf of that person. Let your work reach out. Let your heart reach out and work on behalf of everyone. Let your heart reach out and work on behalf of everyone. Much love to you all. And I will say goodbye for now. There are others that wish to come.
Thank you so very much, Elijah.
Much love to you and many blessings. Send your love to the world. It needs it so badly. Send your love to one another. You need each other so badly. Someone called upon the river spirits. There are many river spirits, and Gaia speaks to us all. We flow so that we may live. We flow so that you may live. We are of one mind when it comes to our reason for being. We are associated with all that is with this planet, Gaia. She is the matriarch for which we are indebted. We now would like to answer whatever question it is that you have for us.
Daniel requested you, so I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
No, it is all right. The answers will come as they may. Continue.
Daniel had a question for you. Go ahead, Daniel.
Greetings. My question regards to the Colorado watershed.
Yeah,
All the water that flows to the Colorado River.
yes.
It is being reported that it's being, from what we would know as a record low, there's not enough moisture being dropped in that region. For those who live in that area, what can they do to draw the moisture to it?
They can pray that God will open up the floodgates of heaven and the sky. We have already spoken to Gaia. There is a reason for this low water level, but it will not last forever. Either that or we will be redirected. The thing is, the flow of water will never stop. It is redirected sometimes for reasons beyond the understandings of humans or even nature. We know that there are things coming, and that flow will continue for a time, but we do not know the outcome, just as you do not know the outcome of your own lives in many ways. You know that eventually all things must die, and if it comes to the fact that we must die or realign, that is fine. Our energies are into the realignment for that which is of good for the world. for the nature of the things. Right now, it does appear that things are looking rather grim in that area. One moment while I connect with that portion. Yes, the flow is low. The tributaries to that area are also very low. Some have even dried. We will try to reestablish a greater moisture area in that area. But remember this, there's reasons for deserts as well as there are reasons for rivers. There are reasons for all things. Do not worry. It will all come to pass the way it should, and Gaia is in control of it.
That satisfies me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there any other questions for us?
No, there's not.
Very well, but that was an important question for us to answer.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good day.
Too many want to come in at once. This is Carlos.
Oh, welcome. Carlos Castaneda.
Yes, all that, yes. All right.
Sheer has a question for you. Go ahead, Sheer.
Greetings.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of your work and your books.
Thank you very much. I am happy to entertain you.
Well, I don't really know where to start from. I know that you, in the beginning, you wanted Don Juan to teach you about the different psychedelics of the Naguals and things of that nature, and he kind of took you under his wings, and from there are some crazy things that have happened. You meeting multidimensional beings, you using also different, how should I say that, drugs, if you want to call
Yes,
them. I don't like the word drugs.
I was into experiencing very different things then. I wanted to experience greatest understanding of the earth through a different viewpoint. You know that. You know that Don Juan was a character, and he fascinated me because he seemed to know exactly what he wanted at every moment, seemingly. But I did not. But learning through the psychedelics, learning through altered experiences and altered places, then I could understand a little bit about how his mind worked, because it did not work like a normal person's mind. He was part of another realm, another world, a part of something beyond this place. Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
And so as I tried to reach where he was, it took psychedelics for me to actually find a place nearby where I thought he was. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Also, my brother has a few questions. He's also a big fan of yours. He asks if you were successful in your mission, and what was your mission, if you can be
Ah,
specific.
my mission was to, everyone has their own missions, and some missions may not seem um, very important, but every mission is important. My mission was to find myself. I was looking for Don Juan's uh, way of life. I was looking for something different than what I found. What I found was myself. My mission was to bring that understanding to others. And I did that. I brought an understanding of who I was. And that is an important thing. I never thought it was. But it was important for me to bring the understanding of who I was to other people so that they could deal with their own lives in the way that they were supposed to. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Also, there is a lot of mystery surrounding your death and your the people who followed you, your students. Can you maybe say something about that, or that mystery should stay untouched?
Well, it had to happen that way because my mission was done. And if it would have gone one more minute, one more hour, then things would have changed. And things could not, I could not have it change. So it had to go the way that it went. And I will leave it at that.
Okay. Also, I don't know if there are any more questions, so just keep asking until someone is going to stop me.
There is
What
more
kind?
questions, but ask the questions you want to ask, but there is someone after you.
Okay. So I will make it shorter. What kind of energy or magic or whatever it was that you and Don Juan and the Toltec were using, because there were some amazing abilities that were depicted in your books. So what was the manipulation, that what was the apparatus, you can say?
Well, we used what was available to us. You see, Don Juan really wasn't a human. I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure that out right away, though. You have to understand, I was trying to look at him from a perspective as another human being, another person that was just like me. I was human. But he could manipulate energy. He could manipulate time a little bit. He could do things that no one else could do. And I thought, I've run into an extraordinary human being. I've run into this extraordinary, this is way some people like Don Juan are. I've just not run into anyone else like him. But after a while, I began to notice that everywhere we went and everything we did, uh, other people were not like him, not at all. And even my family, who I thought was unusual, were not as unusual as he was. So, yes, I believe he was using some techniques from other places on this realm.
I see. Also, there was a Toltec that
Yes.
lived forever, that is basically an immortal being. He used to take some energy from each one of the Naguals in his dynasty in order to extend his lifespan. Is it something that is real? Is he still alive in our world? Is it?
No, he. Yes, I know who the character you speak of. There are some characters in the book that are expanded a little bit beyond their realistic values. So this Toltec was was something of an imaginary being, but was someone that we did encounter, but we gave him Don Juan gave him more uh, energies than he actually deserved, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. And another question, and then I will pass the mic to someone else. Does the Earth has an assemblage point, and was it moved? This is a question for my brother. I'm not really certain what it is because I'm still reading the books.
Assemblage point. Yes, there is an assemblage point. What's the second part of the question? And has it
And
been moved?
the entire question that he sent me, does the Earth have an assemblage point, and was it moved?
The assemblage, there is an assemblage point in the in a very abstract way. Yes, there is, but it always it's moving. Yes, and it is will always move.
I see. Thank you, and it's awesome that you came, and I will pass the mic to some other people, but maybe later on I will ask you some more questions.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kat has a question. Go ahead, Kat.
Greetings.
Hello, Carlos. Yes, another thank you for inspiring also myself. That was 25 years ago. And I still, actually, I talked maybe 2-3 months ago with Don Juan,
Yes.
but very briefly. I wanted to ask more questions him, but about the assemblage point. I actually, in my meditations, I have seen that my point of intent while trying to heal something was coming somewhere from behind.
Yes.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think if you reach your full selfness, I think that's where your intent is coming from.
Yes. Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. The assemblage point will always come from behind because it was before you. It was the beginning of all things here. So it is always going to seem like it's behind you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So from behind you, it's coming all your
yes. But it will. But yet you will catch up with it. It will catch up with you in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think that the person that you mentioned, the one that was like
Toltec?
Yeah, I think I think it was called the Stranger.
Yes.
You mentioned a lot of times. Now you're saying it's he's illusionary. I think it's possible anyway.
He is a representative of God who lives forever.
Yeah, well, that inspired me even more.
Yes.
And I actually believe that you can have control of, not control, but when you fully exist, I don't think I think nothing can stop you.
Of course. That's true. you once you get the momentum built up, it's hard to stop a train when it's going full force, is it not? So yes,
Yeah.
when you built the momentum, it's very hard to stop that. It takes a large amount of energy or a large amount of power to stop that.
Well, I think you become the momentum, and then anything it's possible.
Yes, but to be stopped, something from the outside has to stop you. But that is
Okay, yeah,
very
yeah.
difficult. That becomes very difficult to do once you are the momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, I'll probably let anyone, any
Yes, there's many
other.
things there that there's many things rolling around your brain there. I see. Yes. Good.
There's a question
Yeah.
again from Sheer, if you have time.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos, for all your books, and was well written and inspiring, and the story also extraordinary.
You're welcome.
It's actually what inspired me to find shamans, and I actually found what I was looking for.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's a question again from Sheer. Go ahead, Sheer.
Hello once again. Can you explain the second attention, the different state of being that Don Juan put you in order to teach you shamanism?
Can I the state of being he put me into?
Yeah, it's referred to as the second attention. He alter your state of mind in order to teach you stuff, some things, I think. Yeah.
Well, there are certain things, yes. There are certain things that you just can't learn from someone saying it. Someone can say many things to you, and you can learn it because it makes sense to you. You learn it because it is right there before you, or that it adds up. You could figure it out as they're teaching you. But these are things that are taught that are not right there in front of you, that are not part of your everyday life, that are not things that you would be able to understand unless you were altered, unless you were put into a state that was able to bring those altered thoughts into a realistic sort of viewpoint. So as you're into the secondary altered state, meaning that the original altered state is reality. It is an altered state of its own, don't you agree? But it's the secondary altered state that will bring you the knowledge that you cannot comprehend from the first altered state.
Interesting. Also, I remember that you encountered a woman, a witch, if I'll be more correct, named Gorda, but I'm not really sure that was her name. But you encountered her, there was some weird scenario over there. Was she a witch, something else? Did she, because there were so many different people doing so many bizarre things, so who knows, what was she?
She was, well, I was in an altered state when I wrote that, but the thing is, she was a witch. She was, there were many different things going on because I wanted to show and let you see that being a witch and having those kinds of abilities was not the weirdest thing that was around. There was other things that were going on in reality that were just as odd, just as complex and distressing and perplexing and awe-striking as magic and the energies thereof.
Okay. Also, did you ever had interaction with alien beings that after you passed, you realized that there were aliens in the books?
Yes,
Mm.
there was a couple different ones. Their names, I don't remember the names, but the thing is, there was a lot of things that I wrote about that were not from this world in some respects and regards. Don Juan showed me many things about myself and about things beyond this place that were real, but I thought that they were not, and that I could only reach them through an altered state. But he started to teach me that you could reach them in the reality that I lived in.
That leads me to another question. Is it possible for you to teach me or others how to enter this altered state? Did you ever, can you get to this altered state by yourself?
Yes, actually, after a while, I could. And I can teach you that. It takes a while though, because you have to understand what the altered state is. You see, you cannot get there. You cannot get to Boston by way of the ocean uh, if you're in Chicago. Do you know? Does that make sense to you? So
Yeah.
you have to know where everything is in relationship to everything else. Then you can get to one place to another by the most appropriate means. But I cannot take an ocean to the middle of Siberia. So you have to know the ways to get there.
Okay. Also, there was a bridge in Mexico that you described as a passage between worlds. Can you say if it was true, or is it, where does it lead, that bridge?
The between worlds.
Yeah, you were mentioning a bridge somewhere
Yes.
in Mexico, and you described it as a passage between worlds. Can you tell me if it's true from your
It is a
perspective?
passage. It was literary. It was literary. What I meant was this: on one side of the bridge, people lived in one particular way. It was like a completely different way that I've ever seen people congregating, living, uh, discussing, and experiencing. And on the other side, things were much more normal. They were like, it was a bridge between two different thought processes, two different worlds of understanding. So many times in my writing, I was also writing figuratively and literally as well. So when I was talking about that particular bridge, as you're talking about, it was a bridge between two different worlds. But I don't think that I described that, which what the worlds were like. But it is that one world was totally different than the other, and they were in reality actually. And one reality was very normal. One reality was very different than anything that I've experienced. So that was more of a tribal thing, more of uh, a place where things were they totally different in understanding and consequence even.
See, can you speak about maybe your biggest failure and your biggest triumph from your perspective?
Oh, failures.
If it's too personal, I have many more questions.
The biggest triumph was, I can speak about the triumphs. There's so many failures, I can't mention them all. The triumph was to realize who I was and how it could affect others. That was a great triumph.
I see. Also, I know that many of the people that your students, if you want to call them, many of them wrote books about the experience of being with you and being around you. Is there any particular book from any particular students that is more truthful that maybe we should check out? Or
Oh dear. Um, I do not know. It depends on the individual. You see, each individual gets something different out of each book. Um, and so it depends on what each individual needs, what they get out of the books. So sometimes a book that I would think would be important would be a book that is nothing to one person, but everything to someone else. So I really couldn't do say that because it depends on the individual.
I see. Well, I think that maybe other people want to ask questions or have some more people coming in. Karen, are you here?
Sorry, there's no more questions, but we
Good.
do have many requests for other beings. So not to rush you off, Mr. Castaneda. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I don't want to hog the mic. Maybe I will ask you for one of my personal sessions, but I know that there are many other people that will
Yes, there are
want
many
to.
others that want to come in, so I will bring them in.
That will do for this time, but thank you so much for coming. I want to speak to
You're
you
welcome.
for a very long time.
I hope I was insightful enough. Very well.
Very much. Thank you.
One moment, please. My name is Allergen. I am from a hybrid civilization. Someone was speaking about hybrids.
Yes, yes. Yana has a question about hybridization programs. Go ahead, Yana. Are you there?
Yes, we have them.
Hi, hello, Allergen. Thank you so much for coming through and wanting to explain a bit more what this is about. My curiosity was what I've learned over the last couple of months is that a lot of galactic civilizations are actively involved with hybridization programs, and I was wondering why and hows of that. So why they want to do that?
Usually, hybridization programs tend to strengthen the species. That would be saying this: if you, as a human, were to hybridize with another species, usually the combination of the two would make a stronger species. So as hybridization becomes more apparent in the universe, it is increasing the strength and the immune systems and the actual longevity of each species as they become hybrid. Our species was hybrid for many thousands of years and is a stronger species because of it. We had some Arcturian background and some Pleiadian background and some others. But there are those planets that have this hybrid infusion into their planet's being, and it works very well for them. Now,
Okay.
there are a few exceptions to that. Some of the exceptions would be with non-humanoid type beings. They may have a different outcome with their programs because they must hybridize within a certain element of their species, or they can actually cause detriment to their species.
Mm.
So therefore, but with humanoid species, it's very rare that you find that it weakens the species. Usually it fortifies it.
Mm. Well, thank you so much. This makes a lot clear. I have another question, if I may. I, for myself, I received Arcturian infusion, DNA infusions, and the Hathorian DNA infusion. Is this sort of hybridization way of hybridization after the first conception, or how does this affect your beingness?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, so I received a DNA infusion after
Oh yes,
in adult.
I understand. Okay,
Okay.
you received an infusion.
Yes, I did.
And that affects you. It affects you after a while. What happens is this: with a species that is already hybridized, it happens over. It becomes more and more melded over centuries. But what you're saying is that you've taken in some hybridization and want to know how that affects you. Well, the DNA that comes into your system has got to take hold in some way with the DNA that already exists in your own being. So within your being, this new DNA must find a way to survive or find a way to interact. Now, understand this about your DNA. It is put in specific order so that you can breathe, move, talk, have all the muscle actions that you have. So this cannot interfere with any of your normal functionalities as far as being a human being. It can and will try to function as an addition to what you have, meaning advance your intellect, or advance your vision, or advance your speaking abilities and thought processes, advance your senses, perhaps. It will try to work with you to find ways to enhance you and not interfere with anything that is already there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you so much. So, a last question for you: is it correctly to say that every humanoid species actually is a form of a hybridization over the length of their existence?
There are very few pure species. Those species that had no interaction during their formulation are pure species, but they seem to be a lot weaker when it comes to evolution in some ways. Their minds advance much faster than their bodies, it would appear. And sometimes they're left with a weak body, and they become more energy than they are anything else. And so that's one way of uh, evolution. The thing is, there are pure species, and they find it absolutely amazing that they can advance into energy faster than those that are hybrid. However, the hybrid species seem to enjoy being hybrid species, as well as the other species enjoy moving into energy much quicker.
Okay, thank you. So the last one, because I see there's somebody behind me. Um, um, you are a Lurchan, and you are of Arcturian descent?
There is Arcturian and Pleiadian at the forefront of our hybridization.
Okay. And so where do you live right now? Who is this?
We did not stay in this area. We are from quite a distance from you. And that is not to say that we are not proud of our past heritages, but we wanted to go somewhere where we could be ourselves. This would be several galaxies away from your own.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming and answering my curiosities. Much love and blessings to you.
Thank you so very much. Thanks, Yana. Okay, Susan has a question. Go ahead, Susan.
Hello. I have a question about, I know I have 3 hybrid children. 2 are Arcturian hybrids named Clocked and Silba, and 1 is a Lyran hybrid named Glendale. And I was told that in order for my DNA to be extracted, I was levitated, but I don't have a memory of this. I wasn't taken on a ship, but I was levitated, and there was a physical extraction done. And I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit more about that, as far as the different options for how the DNA is extracted for the hybridization program.
I would think that the reason why they had to levitate you was to get you into the proper position so that they could take the specimen from where they needed to take it from. There are different ways to take DNA specimens. Some that want an egg from this specimen, others can just take blood, others will use a hair fractions or hair extractions. It depends on the species and what kind of hybridization experience and advancements that they have. The greater of them would just be able to do a hybridization with any kind of DNA that you could offer them, and they would not have to levitate you. But some would levitate you to get premium DNA, which would be an egg or sperm.
Okay, very interesting. I also want to know, do I have any other hybrid children that I'm aware of? And also, am I a hybrid myself, or have had any hybridization done to me?
The human species is a hybrid species. You have many different hybridizations within you. So you yourselves are much better off being hybrid species, but there are some of you, such as yourself, that have extra hybridization or have been born onto your planet as an extraterrestrial for a particular reason. I do not know these reasonings up front because I am visiting to answer questions. However, I am aware of your planet and the nature of it in many ways. Your ascension process is important to you and is going on as we speak. So therefore, more hybridization than what has been noted by centuries of interaction have been noted. So yes, you have extra hybridization.
Is that to assist like my work as a light worker or my work to
Correct.
help others at this time? Okay.
I would imagine that would be it.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. And do you see that if I have any other hybrid children other than the 3 that I know of?
Not that I can see.
Not that you can tell. Okay. Great. Wonderful. That's all my questions. Thank you for
Very well.
coming.
Thank you so much. There's a question from the chat. It's from Lana. She wants to know that does she have any hybrid children that she's unaware of? And she wants you to know she loves you, and she's currently stuck on the Earth plane, she said.
I understand. And she has how many hybrid children now? Well,
Lana, if you could type that in the chat, that would help. Well, how many hybrid children do you have now? Just give her a moment to answer because
I do not, you see, where we are from, we are not monitoring all the hybrid stations or programs. There are quite a few in your several galaxies around the Milky Way and within the Milky Way. There are the Arcturians, the Ugils, the Orions, the Cassiopeans, the Fendorians, there's so many species that have their own programs, and they do this with permission from the galactic governments. Even the galactic government has its own hybridization program, if you will. They take in hybrid orphans, if you will. If the parents have been lost or deceased for some reason, the galactic governments will take care of those hybrid children and bring them up in an amazing setting. We should say that.
Okay, she's responded, and she doesn't know how many hybrid children she has.
I see. And her name is Lana. One moment. I have to get close to her DNA before I can tell her. So that will take a moment.
All right.
But her hybrid, she has at least one. I detected that right away.
Okay, thank you. Are you able to answer existential type questions?
It depends on what they are, but go ahead. Her hybrid child is from Arcturian space as well. Interesting.
Sorry. The question is, what is the basis of reality? That's a sort of existential question from Daniel in the YouTube chat.
The basis of reality is to teach. God has created his beings to evolve and learn. The reason why he's done this is because he cannot create equals of himself. So he has created a way for beings to sort of learn as he did about things. Not the same way as he did, of course, because he is energy and you are in species, in bodies. However, he wants you to learn and understand and appreciate the universe and each other. So learning is the reason for reality, and also to enjoy yourself in reality. He wants his beings to enjoy themselves. He wants them to understand that there is responsibilities that go along with all these things. But if you understand God, you will see that he is multifaceted and has many different kinds of understandings and personalities, male and female, and and androgynous, etc. So he is not a judge of people, although they make him into a judge. He is more of an understander of people and a one who gives freedom to be who you are and to evolve the way you see fit within his love, understanding, and compassion. So you are special to him because you are learning your way and how to make that way a good way. I
Thank
don't
you.
know how to explain it any better.
You did. It was beautiful the way you did. There is a question from the chat. It's from Crystal, and she's asking how much does she have any hybrid children that she's unaware of? And I asked her to indicate how many she did know she had, just for your information, but she hasn't responded. So,
all right, Crystal. Well, the first one, Lana, has
yes.
2 hybrid children. One, well, you see, the Arcturians have one of the most advanced and largest of hybrid programs of all species. So it doesn't surprise me that her first child is Arcturian in nature, and it will. And the second child is Pleiadian. The first child is female. The second child is female as well, 2 females. The thing is, she can name them if she wishes, so that they are aware of her already. The second one, Crystal,
Yes.
she has 1 hybrid child that I see from Yuyil, unusual. Yes, that is a male. I do not see any others at the moment.
Okay, thank you. I have a question based on hybridization.
Yes.
It seems as though, and maybe it's just, I don't know, better calculations, but when people were, 10 years ago, when people were really first starting to talk about their hybrid children, they seemed to have hundreds and finding out they had 50 and 100 and things like that. But now it seems more 1, 2, 3. Has there been a
I don't think
change?
that was quite accurate, 50 or 100. I don't think that's unless they were part of a massive inbreeding at some point, which I am not aware of. But the thing is, yes, they're taking much more care in the hybrid programs these days. And I don't know of any program that will spawn 50 or 100 children from one set of DNA.
Okay.
So that would be careless, actually, because what if that one DNA was not a good DNA and had some very negative attributes attached to it? Then they would be perhaps mutants or not, it wouldn't be healthy. So therefore, having 50 and 100 children from one set of DNA is not logical.
What might be interesting as a follow-up, and there are some more questions around this. What is the criteria that you all use in order, because I assume everyone does not have hybrid children, nor is everyone
Stupid.
desirable. So what are you all looking for?
Well, actually, we can make them suitable. Let me explain. Knowing DNA much better than you do, we can go in and take out the negative portions of the DNA if it's that bad. Now, if many years ago when they were talking about the early hybridization programs that were dealing with Earth DNA, I do not see them spawning hundreds and 50 or 100 children from Earth DNA. They would have to do quite a bit of work on it to get it to even fit into the hybridization process. Now, as time has gone on, humans are now in their optimum hybridization period. They have come to the place where their DNA is the most valuable since the 2005 or 6 era, and it is going to continue that way for 100 years. So it is optimum time for hybrid children for humans. Now, I think I got off track on the question a little,
That's
but
okay.
the thing is, yes, the working with different DNAs, they must be careful to bring forth a positive result. And we know the DNAs and those that are in hybrid programs or have hybridization programs know what they are looking for as far as positive DNA. They can extract some things out of the DNA that are not real positive, but they can leave some of that in as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, there's a couple other questions. Ross Angela wants to know how many hybrid children she has and what are their names?
Rosangela,
Mm-hmm.
I think she already knows how many children she has.
Okay.
One moment.
So there's no ones that she doesn't know about. I guess that would be the follow-up.
There is one. It's new. It's actually in the making at this time. Rosangela has one hybrid child that from the Octurians that is not born yet.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And then there's a very nice question from Richard. He says, does Joe Biden have hybrid children and are they alive?
Joe Biden, he has never asked for any hybrid children.
Okay.
He is aware of the hybrid program, however, but he has never asked to have hybrid children. So he does not have any.
Okay.
We only do them if they want them to, if they request them.
Okay.
We do not do things against people's wills or assume that people want hybrid children if they do not.
Okay. And then there's a question, and this is interesting. Does Mother Earth have hybrid children?
Before she was Mother Earth, she did have hybrid children. They are now in other planets.
Okay. Maria, you can ask a question. You have to type what the question is. Let me see. Sorry, there's a comment in the chat. Oh, okay. Crystal wants to know, how do you get more information like age? Do they know about her? How do we know what they're doing? That's what she wants to know. How does she?
I would have to look into that. We would get that from wherever the child is from. If it was Octurian, then you would get call on the Octurians to answer that question. But I know that you are not, that some of you are not channels yet, and so that you cannot call on them readily. But have a very short channel session, and they will bring them through and let you know.
Okay. Tanisha or Tanita, if I don't know how I said it, if I said it correctly, says, I have at least one hybrid child, but I don't know their name. Can you tell me the name?
One moment. Okay. The name is Priyata. Priyata.
Priyata. Okay, thank you. Priyata Tanita. Tanita and Priyata. Very nice. All right. Maria, I believe she just wants to know, does she have hybrid children? She says, I want to know about my hybrid children, but I don't know if that's her question.
No, she wants to know about her hybrid children or if she has hybrid children.
Her statement literally is, I would like to ask about my hybrid children, please. And that was it. There's been no qualifiers.
There are no qualifiers there, so I.
We'll wait and see if she responds. We'll wait and see if she responds. That was all the, let me, oh shoot, 1 second. Now I think she did respond. Oh, no, Sunita says thank you. And that was all the questions I have thus far for you.
There's, the other question is that this other person has a few hybrid children, at least, that I said see it, but I would have to go into detail to find out about them.
And they should make a session with Jim.
I am not in contact with all these different hybridization programs. There are many, but the largest of which is the one with the Octorians has been around quite a long time, hundreds, 180 years, something like that. The one with Gurkviknir has been only around for a short period of time in comparison. So there are different lengths, and when alliances form and things of that nature, then they start up hybridization programs. So they're in all age groups that you find hybridization programs. Like, I think the Octorian one is the oldest one in this galaxy that I know of. So it is, there are others that are, many other hybrid programs, but they're not close by. Some of them are older, but they're not close by. So just there's several in this galaxy alone.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I believe that's all the questions that we have for you.
All right.
And if there is a moment to bring someone else, we have about 30 minutes left. But I want to thank you for your presence and bringing information on the hybridization program, and we hope to have you back again.
Yes, thank you. Greetings.
Greetings.
I am a female Time Lord.
Oh, welcome.
I am Azuratinze.
Can you say that one more time?
Exortense.
Exortense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sheer had a question, and he needs 1 moment. Maybe you can express what a Time Lord does while we're waiting for Sheer to.
Time Lords do many things. There's a great responsibility. It is something that is not given to one lightly. You must control the movement of time. People that have time of machines or time availability, meaning they are able to move back and forth in time. I must control my periods and my sections of space for these different activities. No one can move in time without my authority in my areas. The reason for this is it can be very dangerous to do so. You understand that time can be changed, or I should not say time, but events in what you call time can be changed. There is no such thing as time, except for the fact that you can bend space, alter it, and remove portions of it so that it would appear that things are no longer there in time as they were before. You see, you must understand what it is that you are dealing with. Time is not time. It is something else. Time is a warp, what is it? A warped portion of space, elongated fibers in space, and there are many things that can define time. The revolution of a planet around a sun, around a galaxy, around a universe. There is many different ways to create time in the universe. You create it with the spinning of your world. 24 hours to spin around on your axis. And that is time. But you created that. Was there any such thing before you created it? No. Your earth was just spinning around the sun around the galaxy, etc. Now, when you add time to these movements, then you can measure things, but it is made up. It is not part of truth in its original form. However, math does not lie, so you can mathematically become part of space and time. Mathematics can tell you that time exists in a certain way, but mathematics is not time. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you so very much. I do have a question about time being changed. How many times has that actually happened? You're in our world. I can't really speak about other worlds that we don't know of, but are you over our world or are you over a different area?
I am over a different area, but time on your world has been changed 17 times.
In are there 17 times in the last 100 years?
No, not in the last 100 years, which is also time, but in the last, since the beginning of your time.
Okay, so how many would be in the the last 100 years of our most recent, and the word that we have with the we use is time, so I'm going to continue to use it. But
correct, there is no other thing to use. We are time lords because you have created the word.
yes, so how many times in the last 100 years of our time?
Twice.
Okay. Can you tell us what they are on in his of events that we would be able to identify and maybe know there's an alternate history or two?
I can tell you one. The other
Okay.
I cannot tell you because it would change thought processes in too many ways. But the
Okay.
ending of World War II was altered.
From what to what?
That I cannot tell you.
Okay. Can I ask, when was it altered?
At the end of World War II.
So there was an original ending to World War II. Somebody went back and changed it. I'm asking how many years after World War II did the person go back to World War II and change it?
3,000.
Oh, so someone way in the future changed it.
It must be changed for this timeline to continue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Sheer has a question for you. Go ahead, Sheer.
Greetings.
Greeting.
Did I heard correctly when you presented yourself, you referred to yourself as a female?
Correct.
So, to my understanding, you are in a physical body?
If you would deem it such.
Can I ask?
I relate to femininity, whereas some Time Lords would relate to masculinity. I feel that femininity has greater advantages.
Ah, okay. So it's like angels and other beings of that sort, that they are. Okay. Can you tell me from which density or which realm are you currently residing?
We have to reside from the 12th density.
I see.
But you will not notice it as that. There are many different definitions of what density we are in. We are in the highest of densities, whether it be 1,000th density that some would say exists, or the 12th, or the 4th, or the 17th. We exist in the place known for us as 12th by God. And so we will go with that.
All right. About a paradox, I mean, if
You muted yourself, Sheer.
A paradox is what to you?
He just muted
you stopped
himself.
with the word paradox.
Just he's muted for a minute. Give him a no. We can't hear you, Sheer. You muted yourself.
I haven't muted myself.
There you
can't
are.
hear
Now
me?
you're back. Yeah, back. You were gone for a moment. Go ahead.
Ah, okay. Let's say someone goes back in time and changes his own past, and then basically, let's say someone goes back in time and kill his own father before being conceived. That creates a paradox. Will he create a new reality, or would you step in order to prevent from, I don't know, the world from collapsing on itself?
He wouldn't be able to create a paradox in which he would not exist, because he did exist to go back and do the deed. So if he was sent back to kill his father, it could not happen. Something would happen that he would not be able to do it.
Okay. Also, there is something referred
You're gone again, Sheer.
to as bootstrap trap. Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
There is something in the time travel paradoxes, something called bootstrap trap. It's when, let's say, someone from the future comes back in time and give Einstein the theory of relativity, and then Einstein claims that he came up with that. And then in the future, no one knows that Einstein was given that kind of information, and that, you see, someone can come from the future and bring information or technology, and
yes, let me explain something to you. Nothing can happen of that nature without permission. So in order for that to happen, permission must be given. So if that happened, the person Einstein would realize at some point that the information did not come from himself, but from somewhere else. And because it would not be something that he would have originally thought of himself. Therefore, the future also knows this. However, you cannot go back and give this information to someone without permission. And that permission must have a reason for it. It must be looked at in likelihood of what that will create, and the future will always be changed from that moment on. So you will see the differences. So we can set up simulations of what would happen with these kinds of informations being given, and we will only allow those things to happen that would cause positive outcomes.
I see.
We must set up simulations, because otherwise, to just allow something because someone wanted to do something is not acceptable. Very few time passages have been allowed to change any kinds of futures. Most time travel is about observation and observation only. Most things that are about change must go through rigorous testing.
I see. Very interesting. One of the things that I'm thinking about, it's not only about moving back and forward as we see it, but there are different timelines. I mean, let's say I'm going back in time. Am I still in timeline number 1, or can I end up in the past, but in timeline number 2? Is that something that frequently occurring?
No. What happens is this. You can jump from timeline to timeline, but usually it's in the same period of time as you left the past timeline. It will continue from the second you left from that timeline to the second you arrive in the next. It will not be out of time in any way. It will seem the exact same time, except there will be changes, some notable and some not. You may jump timelines for different reasons. For protection, there are some beings that needed protected from negative beings that are trying to destroy them. We may bounce them to another timeline just to protect them so that the negative forces cannot find them. Other reasons for timeline changes would be for to stop them from having accidents, for stop them from doing something in the one timeline that would be negative for the future of that timeline. That is, if their action is that consequential.
And I have another question that I've actually want to ask for a very long time. I know about that kind of defense mechanism, that you take someone from one timeline and you bring him to a parallel timeline in order to protect him or prevent him from doing something. But the question is, what happened to him in that timeline? Because as far as I know, we all have aspects in all of the different timelines. Let's say this universe has a multitude of timelines. There's sheer in this reality, sheer in the timeline number 2, 3, and 4. So let's say you bring me to timeline number 2. What happened to sheer in timeline number 2? There are 2 sheers in the world right now?
There's an extra shear in the timeline that you went to. The timeline that you left will still have a shear in it, but that shear is not going to do or be harmed in any way, because they realize that this is just something that's left behind to be It's not really functioning in the same way.
But let's say they are going to, so it will not benefit them because they are working on a certain timeline. So even if they will kill that person that have switched place with himself, they still have the same problem because he's going to return to his reality eventually.
Correct.
Okay, but is it possible, or did it ever happen that you moved someone from his timeline to a different one and he met himself?
It
Or
is
is
not
it
permitted for them to meet themselves. You must put them on a portion of the timeline that it is impossible to see themselves.
is there like an equation, which means that I have a certain
Yes,
portion?
there's an algorithm for that, yes.
I see. So
We can
each time,
manipulate that algorithm. We can manipulate everything about the scenario. It would be far beyond your understanding to know how we do this, but you will eventually come back to that place that you left. It may not be right away, but it will be within a very short period of time. But the negativity or the thing that needed to be bypassed will be bypassed, and then you will return.
I see. And how do you exactly keep the timeline safe? I mean, is there, in order to go back in time, you have to like move yourself from the timeline into other kind of a dimension between time and space, and from that station you go back in time, and when they reach that kind of dimension you are able to stop them from doing that? Or is it something that you see in the future and come back and prevent it?
We see all nows. So we see and are alerted to important ones. So therefore, yes, we do see the future, and we have to manipulate what must be in that particular timeline, or timelines, plural. The thing is, we do not want to work and manipulate timelines continuously, because that is a great deal of work and a great deal of correction that needs to be made. Because we must correct every time someone moves from one timeline to another, the subsequent happening with each of these different timelines. So it must be corrected in some way, and we must do that very quickly. So although you may be moved to another timeline very quickly, you will possibly be moved back very quickly as well. Now, if you must stay in another timeline for a period of greater than several days, that can cause a great deal of difficulty. Now, we are able to correct timeline movement, but we are the only ones in the universe able to do such things. We can patch timelines, move timelines, and reestablish them just as they were before. So it seems like nothing is wrong, or no change has ever been made. So this is something that we have to do in certain situations. We do not do it as often as you may think. We may tell people that they have moved to different timelines, but you must understand that is sometimes to save them from the understanding of the timeline they're in already.
Interesting.
Thank you.
I have a question about that. Is a deja vu a memory of a timeline change?
When deja vu occurs, it means you're a few seconds, minutes, or sometimes hours ahead of what has already happened. So
Okay.
you're catching up, your time is catching up to it.
Yes, thank you. All right, and maybe this question is relevant for you. I'll ask it quickly, but it sounds like maybe this might have a relevance. several times in the last couple months and recently, I have been doing something and I realize that I'm watching myself doing it, but it feels like a past life review that I'm watching as opposed to actually doing it. And it's a sort of out of body experience of doing something and saying to myself, I think I'm remembering doing this. I don't think that I'm actually doing it. Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yes, that is a timeline switch as well, because it can give you a sense of changing thought processes, changing time, changing and being in a different place, and also experiencing out of body kind of feelings.
Okay, thank you. We're really at the end of our time. I find this conversation fascinating, and so many people in our chat did as well. It would be wonderful if you would come back again.
Very well.
Thank you so
If
very
you have
much.
the time for it.
If you have the time for us, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
very well.
Thank you so much for being here. Much love to you.
Much love. Second.
Welcome
Hello?
back. Welcome back.
Hi.
Hi. We had a lot of beings come and it was very interesting.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you. We have a few. Angie, are you going to do a blessing as well as your announcement?
Sure, I will seal it up, yes.
Okay, well, we have also Susan's going to do a blessing. So let's have Susan go first, and then Angie, you do the last blessing and your announcement. We'll do it like that.
Okay.
Thank
Go,
you.
Susan.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. He tikia sakatkaya toya sikia tukoya tikia tukoya sikia hoya ya skia tikaya tukoya ia sokoya tikaya hoya tikia tukoya tikia asakatukoya sikia tukoya asakatikia tukoya tikia tikatikia. Blessings.
Let love rule always. Let love be your guide. Let your heart know what it is that love is doing. Let your heart know what your mind is thinking. Let all be associated one with another, because love is the answer to all things. Love is the question that people are asking, no matter what the question is. It comes to the answer. Love is what is needed in the world.
Tu o tu nik a toa I cha tu akt u a ta kuam di si tu ha oa a ta kwa ti hudo a mam tu a isht I wo wa ti a nik tua to so.
Life is fragile. Treat it as such. Let us help you and guide you. Let God be your guide as well. But we must also find a way to find a path into your world so that we may help you out. You are fragile, and we need to help you to become permanent in the universe.
Thank you so very much. Just let me turn my camera back on. Sorry.
All right, so a couple announcements is there, at this time, there is not a class that has been set up, but our future classes that we will be doing in the future are a crystals and rock informational session, White Magic 2 and Galactic Energy Healing Teacher course. if there's any of these that you're interested in, please email classes@hucolo.org. We'll get information out to you when it is set and scheduled. If you have any other questions, or if there's a class that you would like to see on here, then again, send that to classes@hucolo.org, and we'll fit it in. Thanks.
All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jim, everybody, for in the room. And we'll see you next week. Next week, we have Mads, and I have a hard time saying his last name. What is it? Jana?
It's Mads Lundager, but it's Danish. So the pronunciation, I don't know.
Okay, well, it's Mads Lundager, but he's going to be with us once a month for the next 6 weeks, which is really a great thing. So we'll have a lot to build on with him every month. He channels a whole lot of beings, and we look forward to having him as part of the Hucolo family. So if you would like to be in the room with Jim, it's for Hucolo Club members. So we call this a paid webinar. For $10 a month, you can help support Human Colony, and you can go to humancolony.com and go to membership, and you can join that. We have a new website starting on hucolo.org, but right now you can go, if you go to hucolo.org, it'll take you to the old website as well, so no worries, but look for how to become a Hucolo Club member. We appreciate everybody's support and all the people who week after week support Human Colony. So much love to everyone, and we will see you next week.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Much love.
Change the timeline, Karen.